What kind of creative control was promised? What kind of final approval did he actually have? What exactly can the platform change without notifying him? And the producers, according to the chatter, were caught in the middle, because they needed 50's name and presence to sell the energy of the series, but they also needed Netflix to sign off so the whole thing could exist. That middle position is where betrayals start forming, at least in the way fans are framing it, because if 50 feels blindsided, he starts looking for who let it happen. Was it the producers? Was it the platform? Was it someone in his own circle who didn't push back hard enough? Fans were shocked at how quickly the conversation turned from, "Why is that name missing?" to "Who betrayed who?" And then you get the reactions from everyone around the story. Friends of 50, at least according to the gossip version, were telling him to let it go. Don't fight a giant, they supposedly warned. You'll lose access, you'll get iced out. But the internet also claims he had other people hyping him up, telling him this was the exact moment to stand firm. If you let them edit you, they'll edit you forever, one alleged supporter supposedly said. Meanwhile, fans were making it worse in the way fans always do. They started tagging everyone, they started demanding answers. They started clipping old interviews and acting like they proved something new. And because the documentary was already tied to a wider storm of online speculation, every new rumor felt like gasoline. And then comes the moment that really made it feel like a show, the alleged room split meeting. The way people describe it online, it wasn't one of those polite industry meetings where everyone nods and smiles. It was tense. It was silent in that uncomfortable way. 50's side sitting on one end, Netflix side on the other, producers trapped in the middle like kids watching their parents argue. A Netflix swap, according to the version being repeated, says something like, "We can't air anything we can't substantiate." And 50 replies, "Then why did you buy a documentary built on controversy?" Someone else tries to soften it with, "We're protecting everyone involved." And 50 allegedly hits them with, "Protecting who?" That question is why fans won't let this go.
Because it suggests a hidden priority. And even if none of these alleged lines happened exactly like this, the emotional truth of it is what people are reacting to. The feeling that someone got protected while others got exposed. By the end of the retold meeting, the internet version says nobody got 50 left angry, the producers left stressed, and the audience was left with a hole in the story that immediately became the loudest part of the story. And now, the documentary isn't just a documentary. It's a controversy about a controversy, a drama about an edit, a fight about who gets to be mentioned and who gets to vanish, all built on rumors that keep multiplying because the silence from the official side only makes the internet talk louder. And the louder the internet got, the tighter the silence became, and that silence is exactly what made the rumor feel dangerous. Because when nobody gives a clean answer, people start writing their own. And in this case, the story people started writing had one major twist that flipped the whole vibe from editing choice to power play. Reportedly, a small circle of bloggers began pushing a new angle, that the segment wasn't cut because it was messy, it was cut because it was specific. Not vague hints, not general commentary, but a sequence that allegedly pointed fingers in a way that could not be unsaid once it streamed to millions. The claim was that the footage included conversations and archived clips that, when placed back to back, created a narrative Netflix didn't want to touch. And once that idea hit social media, fans did what they always do. They started building timelines. They started connecting dots that may not even belong on the same page. They started quoting old interviews like they were courtroom exhibits. And soon, the chatter turned into a full-blown storyline. They didn't cut it for pacing. They cut it because somebody called. Again, nobody has proved that, but it spread because it felt like the kind of thing that happens when money and reputations are on the line. Then came the second twist, and this one really made emotions run high. People began claiming that 50 Cent didn't just argue with Netflix. He allegedly felt betrayed by someone closer. Not the platform, not the lawyers, but a producer he trusted. The rumor says 50 found out that early drafts of the episode had already been shown to a handful of people outside the core team, and that made him feel like the conversation wasn't just about content, it was about control. In the retelling, 50 is on the phone with someone from production, voice low, clipped, the kind of calm that scares people more than yelling. Who saw it? He allegedly asks. The producer tries to dance around it. It's normal, they supposedly say. There are review processes. And 50 replies, allegedly, "Don't say normal to me, say names." That line is what fans keep repeating because it fits the reality TV drama vibe perfectly. The moment the star realizes the room is bigger than he thought, and somebody has been whispering behind his back. Now here's where the story gets even more dramatic, because the internet started claiming that Netflix tried to do a quiet cleanup, not publicly, but privately. Supposedly, they reached out to 50's people with a soft offer, like a peace treaty that looks polite but feels insulting if you're the type who hates being managed. The alleged offer was simple: let the final cut stand, but we'll help you put out a statement. A controlled statement, a neat one. Something that says the edit was creative, the series is strong, everyone's happy, no drama. And if that is true, you can guess how that landed. Because the rumor is that 50 didn't want a statement, he wanted leverage. He wanted to make it clear he wasn't being muted. And that's why fans started obsessing over his social posts, because the way he moves online is rarely random. The claim floating around is that he started dropping little hints like breadcrumbs. Not enough for anyone to quote as fact, but enough to keep the speculation boiling. And the fans ate it up, comment sections turned into war zones, reaction channels went live nightly, and you could almost hear the collective voice of the internet saying, if you really have the footage, drop it. But that's when another twist entered the picture. Reportedly, people close to 50 were warning him not to go too far. Not because the audience wouldn't love it, but because the industry doesn't play fair when it feels threatened. And this is where the personal stakes hit. Because if 50 escalates, he risks turning a streaming partnership into a permanent closed door. And if he backs down, he risks looking like he got checked. Fans were shocked watching that tug of war play out in real time, because you could see it in the way the conversation shifted. One day it was, Netflix is hiding something. The next day it was, is 50 bluffing? And then right when the momentum peaked, a new rumor showed up that made everybody pause. The claim was that there were two versions of episode 4 at one point, a longer cut and a shorter cut. And according to the gossip, a handful of people had seen the longer one during internal reviews. That rumor lit everything on fire, because it gave the internet something it loves, the idea that somewhere on someone's drive there is a forbidden version. And when people believe a forbidden version exists, they start hunting like it's treasure. Some were saying someone will leak it, others were saying it'll never surface because NDAs, and a smaller group started pushing a wild theory that the longer cut was used to scare certain people, like a behind-the-scenes pressure tool. Again, no proof, but it kept the story alive. Meanwhile, the people around 50 allegedly weren't calm either, and this is where the family drama energy comes in, because even if there isn't literal family involved, the camp dynamic starts behaving like one. You've got the loyal ones, the cautious ones, the ones who want him to strike, and the ones begging him to protect the bigger plan. One rumored conversation that fans keep paraphrasing goes like this. A close friend tells 50, "You can't outmuscle a platform." And 50 supposedly replies, "I'm not trying to outmuscle them. I'm trying to stop them from thinking they can edit me." And there's the core emotional conflict again. Pride versus strategy, public image versus private reality, the need to be seen as fearless but also smart enough not to burn the whole house down. At the same time, Netflix in the rumor universe is dealing with its own internal heat, because when a controversy goes viral, it doesn't just stay online. Executives get pulled into calls, lawyers start asking for documentation, teams start pointing fingers at each other about who approved what, and in that tension, people start protecting themselves. Fans were shocked at how quickly the narrative turned into who is the scapegoat, because in corporate worlds, someone always becomes the person who didn't flag it or let it get too far. And if the rumor about the removed segment is real, then somebody at some stage had to say yes before someone later said no. And that's where betrayal rumors flourish, because people start asking, who promised 50 one thing and delivered another? Then came yet another twist that made the internet feel like it was watching an episode, not discussing one. Some entertainment pages started claiming that a respected industry figure reached out to 50 privately and told him, basically, you're stepping into a war you can't see. And that message, according to the way fans retold it, didn't scare him, it irritated him. Because if there's one thing that lights a fire under someone like 50 is being told to back down. And the more the warnings came, the more his supporters treated it like proof that he was over the target. They were in the
A clear, articulate male voice with a calm, serious, and deliberate delivery, speaking at a moderate pace, ideal for conveying complex information with authority and clarity. Comments saying things like, they're nervous, they're trying to shut him up, he's got them scared. Now, to be clear, that's fan interpretation, not evidence. But it shows you how the audience psychology works. Silence looks like guilt, and caution looks like fear. And as this rumor storm grew, the biggest question kept circling back, louder every day. If the segment was cut for safety, why does it feel like only one name got the cleanest escape? Why does it feel like some people get exposed and others get shielded? Nobody has an official answer, but the fact that so many viewers are asking the same thing is exactly why this drama isn't dying down. By the time the dust started settling, the story had evolved into something bigger than one documentary edit. It became a showdown narrative, 50 Cent versus the machine, the platform versus the persona, the audience versus the silence. And whether any of it is true or not, the internet is treating it like a season finale that ended with the most frustrating thing possible, the sense that the real scene is still sitting somewhere, locked away, while everyone involved pretends nothing happened. And after all that noise, something else started happening that fans didn't expect. The story stopped being about the documentary and started being about the people watching it. Because once you have a rumor that big floating around, it becomes a mirror. Everybody sees what they already believe reflected back at them. Some fans were convinced this was the oldest trick in the book, a calculated controversy meant to push views and keep the documentary trending for weeks. They kept saying, "Look at us, we're doing the marketing for them." They pointed out how fast reaction videos popped up, how every page suddenly had an anonymous insider, how every thumbnail looked like it was screaming the same message. And in that version of events, the cut tapes talk wasn't a scandal, it was a strategy. But the other side wasn't buying that at all. They said the emotion felt too real, the silence too deliberate, the missing space too noticeable. They argued that if this was just hype, Netflix would have leaned into it with a tidy explanation. Instead, according to the chatter, the platform kept things as flat as possible. No big statement, no detailed clarification, just quiet. And quiet is what makes people spiral. Reports started floating around that Netflix teams were instructed to keep their responses minimal. Again, that's not confirmed, it's just what entertainment pages claimed. But it added another layer, the idea that even employees were being told to avoid the topic, like it was radioactive. And when fans hear that, they don't think professional, they think cover-up. Then came the moment that made emotions run high in a different way. People began dragging 50 Cent's name into it as if he was either the hero or the villain, depending on the mood of the comment section. Some viewers started calling him reckless, saying he was playing with reputations and using the audience as fuel. Others called him fearless, saying he was the only one bold enough to challenge a platform that can edit the truth into something convenient. And 50, in the middle of that, is now fighting two battles at once in the rumor storyline. One battle with Netflix and one battle with public perception. Because he can't say too much without sounding like he's confirming things, but he also can't say nothing without looking like he got silenced. It's a trap that celebrities fall into all the time. Speak and you get sued. Stay quiet and you look guilty or scared. According to the online accounts, that tension is exactly why his inner circle supposedly pushed for a different approach. Not more heat, but controlled heat. They wanted him to keep it in the commentary lane, where it stays framed as internet talk, fan reaction, and industry patterns, not direct claims. And if you listen to how the rumor has evolved, you can feel that shift. Instead of screaming, "They cut it," the narrative turned into, "People are saying they cut it." Instead of, "This happened," it became, "This is what's being reported." And that matters, because in the entertainment world, the language is the weapon. You can light a fire without holding the match if you choose your words carefully. So in the version fans are repeating now, 50's camp allegedly started building a countermove. Not a leak, not a rogue release, but a media play. The idea, as people describe it, was to take back control by turning the controversy into content on his own terms, not by confirming anything, but by reacting to the reaction. If Netflix wouldn't let him present the story inside their documentary, he could still tell his side out of it. And that's when the war part of the title really comes alive, because a war isn't always loud on day one. Sometimes it's quiet and strategic. If you believe the gossip version, the play was simple. Let Netflix sit in silence while he keeps the internet fed with just enough mystery to stay trending, not to destroy the platform, but to make it clear he can't be contained. The fans, of course, went wild. Some started praising him like he was running a masterclass. He's baiting them, they said. He's forcing their hand. Others were exhausted, saying, "This is too much smoke and not enough substance." And that's where the audience split got sharper. One side wanted receipts, the other side wanted drama, and the third side wanted everyone to calm down and remember this is entertainment, not a courtroom. Then you had the people around the situation adding their own flavor. Industry friends, podcast hosts, and gossip commentators started weighing in, each one using the story to reinforce whatever point they already wanted to make. Some were saying platforms always cut controversial material and it's normal. Others were saying certain names always get protected and it's not normal. And every time someone said it's normal, 100 fans replied, "Then explain why it's always the same people getting the clean edit." Meanwhile, the producers became the quiet victims of the whole storm in the public imagination. Fans started treating them like they were either cowards or pawns. And in the rumor version, that hit them hard, because they're the ones who have to stand between a talent with a strong personality and a platform with strong legal walls. If the project succeeds, the platform takes the credit. If the project catches fire, the producers take the blame. And when viewers start yelling betrayal, the producers are the easiest targets because they look closest to the edit. One of the more dramatic claims that started circulating was that producers were begging for peace behind the scenes, trying to keep both sides from escalating. The rumor says they wanted 50 to stop poking the bear, and they wanted Netflix to stop acting like the controversy didn't exist. But neither side, in this narrative, wanted to blink first. 50 doesn't blink because pride is part of his brand. Netflix doesn't blink because authority is part of theirs. And that is why fans keep calling it a war, even though nobody has confirmed any formal conflict. It's a war of posture, a war of silence, a war of who looks like they're in control. Eventually, the internet chatter hit a point where it started eating itself.
People began calling out other creators for exaggerating, for turning rumors into facts just to sound confident. And that created a new twist. The story became less about the alleged cut and more about who you trust to talk about it. Viewers started saying, this is why the whole space is messy. They began demanding disclaimers. They began asking creators to stop presenting speculation like confirmed news. And strangely, that pushback gave the situation a kind of resolution inside the chaos, because it forced the conversation into a clearer lane, commentary and reaction, not
A clear, articulate male voice with a calm, serious, and deliberate delivery, speaking at a moderate pace, ideal for conveying complex information with authority and clarity. Certainty, not final answers, just the messy reality of internet rumor culture colliding with corporate silence. So, where does that leave everything by the end of this main drama? It leaves us with a situation that feels like a modern entertainment paradox. A documentary drops, a name appears to be missing, and the absence becomes the biggest headline. People claim there was more footage. People claim 50 fought for it. People claim Netflix cut it to avoid heat. None of it confirmed, yet all of it powerful enough to dominate the conversation. And in the middle of it, 50's image becomes the storyline, the guy who refuses to be edited, whether he's actually holding anything back or simply reacting to the internet's hunger. Netflix's image becomes the storyline too, the platform that will stream controversy, but only up to the point where the risk feels too close. Fans are shocked because the documentary may have ended on screen, but the public drama it sparked is still moving like its own series, driven by posts, speculation, and the kind of silence that always makes people talk louder. And even if the Jay-Z tapes are nothing more than an online nickname for a rumor, the effect is real. Everyone is watching the watchers now, and the conversation itself has become the spectacle. And now we're right back where this whole thing started, with one uncomfortable reality. Nobody has officially confirmed anything, but the reports and rumors refuse to die. And that's exactly why this story has people so hooked. Because if this really was just a normal edit, why does it feel like everyone is walking on eggshells? Why does it feel like the silence is louder than the documentary itself? And why are fans still dissecting episode 4 like there's a missing page ripped out of a book? Here's what we can say without pretending we know more than we do. People online are claiming there was a cut segment. People online are calling it the Jay-Z tapes. People online believe 50 Cent fought with Netflix over what could and couldn't make the final cut. And the way the internet is reacting tells you everything. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the audience was left divided between this is marketing and this is damage control. But the biggest question is still sitting right in your lap. If a platform can make a name disappear from a story this big, what does that say about how narratives get shaped before they ever reach you? And if 50 is posting like he's got something, is that a real hint, a strategic move, or just him enjoying the chaos while everyone else panics? Now, I want you to do two things. First, drop your honest opinion in the comments. Do you think this was just a standard streaming edit, or do you believe Netflix was pressured to cut that segment? And do you think 50 Cent is bluffing, or does he really have footage that could flip this whole conversation upside down? Second, if you made it to the end, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because if more receipts surface, if any new statements drop, or if this story takes another turn, you already know we're covering it in real time. And remember, this is commentary based on what's being talked about online, not a final verdict. But one thing is clear, the internet isn't letting this go. So tell me, where do you land on this? And what do you think they didn't want you to see?
Finish the documentary. You hit play, expecting fireworks, and then you notice the one name that should have set the whole thing on fire is nowhere. No photo, no mention, not even a blurry background cameo. And that's when the whisper started creeping in. Netflix didn't forget Jay-Z. They allegedly cut him out. But here's where it gets messy, because the rumor isn't just that Jay-Z was missing. The rumor is that an entire segment from episode 4 was removed at the last second, a segment people online are calling the Jay-Z tapes. And the wildest part? The story going around says 50 Cent fought like his reputation depended on it to keep that footage in. Like this wasn't creative differences, this was a full-blown war behind closed doors. Now, we're not saying any of this is confirmed. We're saying these reports are surfacing, these claims are spreading, and fans are shocked at how fast the conversation is exploding.
because if Netflix really pulled a whole segment, you have to ask one question. What did they allegedly see that scared them enough to erase it? And if 50 Cent is hinting he has the footage, then buckle up, because this is where the drama starts. You can feel it the second you finish the documentary, and your brain starts doing that little rewind, like, wait, did I miss something? Because everyone caught heat, every headline name got discussed, every old clip got replayed, but one face was just absent. And that's where the internet did what it always does. It filled the silence with theories, screenshots, and late-night group chats that turned into full-on investigations. According to the chatter spreading online, the missing piece isn't an accident. It's a decision, a deliberate one, and the rumor is loud. Netflix allegedly cut a full segment from episode 4, something insiders and bloggers have nicknamed the Jay-Z tapes. Now, nobody can prove that title is official. It might be a fan-made label, it might be a whisper that got copied so many times it started sounding real. But once a rumor gets a name, it gets legs. The story that's been bouncing around is that 50 Cent didn't just notice the cut, he fought it. Like, not a calm email chain fight, not a let's revisit this in post fight. People are saying it got personal, emotional, and ugly behind the scenes. Allegedly, the moment Netflix's team started hinting that certain material was too risky, 50's whole mood shifted. One producer supposedly tried to soften it with corporate language, talking about balance and tone and liability, and 50 snapped back with, "So you want my name on it," he allegedly said, "but you don't want my cut?" And the room went quiet.
Or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is, and you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls.
Not documented, just repeated. But fans are shocked because it sounds exactly like the version of 50 they think they know, a man who treats every negotiation like a chess match and every edit like a sneak attack. He's built a whole second career on controlling narratives, and the idea that Netflix tried to control his, that feels like a spark in a room full of gasoline. And then comes the part that made the rumor explode. People claim there was a tense, closed-door meeting where Netflix executives, legal reps, and the documentary producers sat down with 50's camp. Supposedly, the meeting wasn't even scheduled like a normal creative review. The word going around is that it felt like an intervention, the kind where everyone smiles too hard and speaks too carefully because nobody wants to be the one who says the real reason out loud. One alleged witness account that fans keep quoting describes the vibe like this. They were talking to him like he was a problem they needed to manage. And if you know anything about 50 Cent's public persona, you know that is the quickest way to make him go.
How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there.
From calm to volcanic. In the online retellings, 50 arrives late, hoodie up, phone in hand, not looking for a friendly conversation. Someone from the producer side tries to start with compliments. The series is strong, they allegedly say. Your voice is important. And 50 cuts it short. Save the speech. What got cut? Now the lawyer tone kicks in. A Netflix legal person, in the rumor version, lays it out like a list of landmines. There are references we can't verify, they say. There are claims that could trigger lawsuits. There are implications that go beyond commentary. And 50, allegedly, doesn't argue that the material is heavy. He argues that heavy is the point. Y'all sold this as unfiltered, he supposedly says. Don't go soft now.
Here's a fun little fact. I actually have verifiable knowledge of all 15 of Mr. Carter's illegitimate children that he hides from the world.
The producers, again according to the gossip, try to frame it as protecting the project. They talk about how streaming platforms get hit with legal letters, how the wrong 2 minutes can cause months of court headaches. 50's camp doesn't care about headaches. They care about control. And the moment someone says the phrase pressure from the outside, the air changes. Because that's the real heartbeat of this whole rumor. The idea that Netflix didn't cut something because it was messy, but because somebody with influence made it uncomfortable. Fans are shocked at how fast that idea stuck, because it matches what people already believe about the industry, that some names get questioned and some names get protected. So now, online, people are hunting for proof.
They're rewatching trailers. They're comparing early promos to the final cut. They're zooming into frames like it's a mystery series, a blurred picture in a montage, a sentence that feels edited, a pause where a name should be. And each time someone thinks they found something, the rumor gets louder. Then you have the social media moments. Fans are repeating a claim that 50 posted something that sounded like a wink, like he was saying he still has what they wouldn't air. Some people took it as a joke, others took it as a warning. And you know how it goes. One comment becomes,
We're gonna have a real conversation about whether or not Rihanna was trafficked to Def Jam.
She was the innocent baby when she came over here. And look at her now.
14 going on 15 years old, flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in the fucking morning in a hotel room, auditioning at 3 a.m. in the morning, a 14-year-old girl.
With no parental consent.
With no parental, nobody. She was flown. She was flown to another country. She was taken to Def Jam headquarters. She was left in a conference room alone with Sean Carter for nearly 6 hours alone with no parental.
10 think pieces, and 10 think pieces become a whole storyline. And of course, the fan reactions turned into factions overnight. Some viewers dragged 50 for playing games, saying he knows controversy sells. Others defended him, saying he's the only one willing to call out how platforms edit reality. Even a few industry friends, at least according to online chatter, privately warned him to cool it, because fighting a giant streamer can turn into a blacklist you don't see coming. In the drama version of events, Netflix tries to calm it down quietly. They allegedly reach out to 50's team with a compromise. We can adjust the edit. We can tighten the segment. We can keep the spirit without the risk. And 50's response, according to the way fans are telling it, is simple. Either it's in, or my name ain't. That line is why people are addicted to the story, because it turns a cut segment into a power struggle. Netflix wants something safe enough to stream without getting dragged into court. 50 wants something loud enough to shake the room. And when both sides think they're protecting the project, emotions ran high. What makes fans even more divided is the timing. The internet is already flooded with gossip and old clips, with people relitigating every celebrity connection like it's a trial. So when a rumor says a major platform cut a major name, it doesn't land like a normal edit. It lands like damage control. And here's the twist that keeps floating around. Some people claim the cut wasn't even about one person. They say the segment was a domino line. Pull one name and 10 other names fall with it. And Netflix, allegedly, didn't want that chain reaction on their doorstep. So in the version the internet is obsessed with, Netflix makes the call. Episode 4 gets a last-minute trim. A section disappears. The final upload goes live. And the moment viewers notice that missing space, it's like the silence.
A clear, articulate male voice with a calm, serious, and deliberate delivery, speaking at a moderate pace, ideal for conveying complex information with authority and clarity. Itself becomes the loudest sound in the room. And that's where things stand right now. Not with confirmed documents, not with official statements, but with a wave of reports, claims, and fan theories that won't stop multiplying. Because when a platform stays quiet and a celebrity stays vague, people don't calm down. They get curious. And curiosity, in this business, is the most profitable kind of chaos. And once that curiosity turns into chaos, it doesn't stay in comment sections. It starts spilling into group chats, reaction videos, and those late-night live streams where everybody suddenly becomes a media analyst with a screenshot folder and a theory. Fans were shocked because it wasn't just one or two people asking questions. It was thousands of viewers comparing timestamps, pausing frames, and swearing they could hear a chopped sentence where a name used to be. According to the online chatter, the first major flare-up happened when a few entertainment pages started posting the same claim, that 50 Cent didn't find out about the cut like a normal creator. The rumor says he found out late, the way you find out you got played, not the way you find out a scene got trimmed for pacing. One post claimed he was sent a final cut link and noticed the missing chunk instantly. Another claimed he got a text from someone on the inside that basically read, "They pulled it." No proof, no documents, just the kind of whisper that spreads because it feels like it could be true. And if you've watched how 50 moves publicly, you know he doesn't do quiet disappointment. The internet started speculating that he went straight into war mode, not with a press release, but with the kind of indirect posts that feel like a wink and a threat at the same time. Fans were reading everything into everything. A caption, an emoji, a late-night story, the way he liked one comment but ignored another. People were acting like they were decoding a secret language. Then there's the bigger rumor that made emotions run high, that Netflix wasn't just worried about controversy, they were worried about a chain reaction.
The story going around says that the removed segment, whatever it actually contained, was tied to a web of connections that would have forced the documentary to answer questions it wasn't ready to answer. And that's where the fan base split right down the middle. One side was like, this is standard business, platforms cut stuff all the time. The other side was like, no, this is different, because when a whole name disappears, that isn't editing, that's erasing. And the comments got messy fast. People were arguing like it was personal. Some were calling 50 a genius for pushing boundaries. Others were calling him reckless, saying he was trying to stir up smoke for clicks. And then you had the watchers in the middle, the ones who don't even care about celebrity politics, but care about one thing. Why did that part go missing? According to unverified accounts that started circulating, the producers tried to calm things down with a phone call first. The rumor paints it like this. A producer calls 50's team and tries to keep the tone light, like, hey, small changes, nothing major. But the second 50 gets on the line, the temperature jumps. A person in his circle supposedly says he wasn't yelling at first, he was icy. And icy is worse, because it means he's calculating. So you're telling me the most talked about name is missing, he allegedly says, and you want me to smile like that's normal? The producer, according to how people retell it, tries to explain that they didn't remove a name, they restructured a segment. They say the platform wanted it tight. They say the legal team was nervous. And 50 fires back with something like, nervous about what? Y'all keep saying nervous, say the real thing. And there it is again, that phrase fans keep repeating, say the real thing. Because that's what makes this story feel like reality TV drama. Nobody wants to admit the real reason, but everybody can feel it sitting in the room like a heavy coat you can't take off. The rumor mill claims Netflix tried to offer a compromise, not a public one, a private one. Something like, we can include a reference in a safer way. We can add a line that balances it. We can keep the spirit without the heat. But 50, in this version of the story, wasn't negotiating for a softer mention. He was negotiating for control. And the minute someone uses words like platform standards, he takes it as disrespect. Now, the personal stakes in this are what fans keep circling back to. Because for 50, it's not just a documentary, it's a brand move. It's his voice. It's his reputation as the guy who says what other people won't. And if he lets a platform silence the loudest part, viewers might start seeing him as just another celebrity who barks online but folds behind closed doors. And he can't afford that image. Not with his audience, not with his rivals watching, not with every blogger ready to call him controlled the moment he looks too cooperative. And for Netflix, the stakes are different. They're not trying to win a rap battle. They're trying to avoid a legal hurricane. The rumor suggests their team wasn't even primarily worried about viewers getting mad. They were worried about letters, lawsuits, and the kind of behind-the-scenes pressure that turns a streaming win into a corporate headache. And when a platform feels threatened, they don't fight like a person. They fight like an institution, quietly, professionally, with contracts. The story goes that 50's team pulled up the agreement and started asking sharp questions. What kind of creative control was promised? What kind of final approval did he actually have? What exactly can the platform change without notifying him? And the producers, according to the chatter, were caught in the middle, because they needed 50's name and presence to sell the energy of the series, but they also needed Netflix to sign off so the whole thing could exist. That middle position is where betrayals start forming, at least in the way fans are framing it, because if 50 feels blindsided, he starts looking for who let it happen. Was it the producers? Was it the platform? Was it someone in his own circle who didn't push back hard enough? Fans were shocked at how quickly the conversation turned from, why is that name missing, to who betrayed who?